My name is Haba, and I'm a sculptor from Camino Island. We're here at Matsky's Fine Art Gallery. So this is a piece that I did called Alto. In 2009, it was part of an exhibit in Seattle at Karkik Park. It was part of a Heaven and Earth exhibition that was put on by the Center on Contemporary Art. And it was then moved to Matsky Fine Art after the exhibit, and has been here kind of slowly enjoying its retirement. It was made specifically for Karkik Park, and the notion of heaven and earth, I wanted to have this conversation with the piece and with the environment about how people communicate with the unknown. This was a spiritual shape, but I wanted to work with remnants of a spiritual culture that have been taken over by nature and have returned, in a way, back to the earth. The earth is reclaimed. One of the inspirations for it was actually Angkor Wat and the vines and the growth overtaking architecture. People got so attached to the piece, and there were a lot of people that were upset that I burned it to begin with. But people were so attached to it, they're like, no, you can't take it apart. No, you can't reuse the rope. It has to, I love that. So I left it, and I left it to the point where the rope was no longer usable at all. I mean, you'd touch it and it would start to just, kind of fall apart. Kind of the cleanest approach, I think, was to burn it. I mean, immolation's got a wonderful history in terms of kind of a cleansing, whether it's a cremation or a spiritual gathering where there's a bonfire. And so I wanted to combine those two notions of release and ending in a way that kind of left the piece in another form, to reduce it to ashes, to reduce it to something that could then seep back into the earth and become something else. I chose to do it on the winter solstice. In the Pacific Northwest, we go through some long nights. I saw that actually on the internet, I think the day before, that this was going to be the longest night. And so for me, that just kind of clinched that it was the right time to do it. For me, it was a way to gather just before the Christmas holiday to celebrate the changing of the seasons, the changing of the light, in a way that, didn't have any commercial overtones, and was really just about being with people, recognizing who we are and where we are. I think fire has a way of reminding us where we came from, and it's something so deep within us, from warmth to food to light. I mean, it encompasses so much of our necessities. The way the piece burned, the way it unfolded and revealed its interior structure, and the texture of the different materials played with the fire, the way the fire worked its way around the rope. And I think there were a number of things that made it different than a regular, wood fire, bonfire. It had a different story to tell. It brings its own energy, and people were talking about all of the different things that they saw within the fire, these kind of abstract images that appear, and you begin to create, each person, I think, began to create their own story of what they saw in the fire. watching it burn was an experience of letting go and letting myself know that not everything is so precious. Not everything lasts forever. And for me, it's always a matter of not so much dwelling on the pieces that I've done, but clearing the air and opening up space to do new work. And so I think the burning of that piece opened up some space within me to create more pieces. For me, Alto was a piece that changed direction. It was breaking free into a new material, into a new meditative process. There was a huge amount of hours in the creating of the piece, or wrapping of the piece, and tying all the rope strands together. That was a more meditative way of working than I had been working in the past, which was much more physical and kind of bold, but in a different way. And so for me, Alto opened up the possibilities of combining a meditative practice and a creative practice. A lot of work that I've done since has come from Alto in one way or another, whether it be the process or things that I enjoyed about the process that I wanted to recreate or delve back into.